Hello guys, welcome to Instructor Alison tutorials. In this video, we're going to discuss plane geometry. And in plane geometry, this studies the figure having parts that lie in a singular plane. All right, maybe we will just put it down for the interest of those who might want to. Okay, copy it down because it's very important you understand the concept before we delve into the properties. Having parts that lie in a singular plane. All right, so we will basically talk about some elements of plane geometry, and these elements, they can help us to understand more of the details by the time we start working on the formations of angles. All right, so the elements of plane geometry includes elements of plane geometry. The first one we're going to consider is angles. And what do we really understand by angle? It's also a figure formed by two rays, all right, which start from two or more planes intersect together. So either we have two or three planes coming together or intersect together. That is what we basically mean by the term angles. All right, and basically the units we use in measuring angle, the unit of measuring angles are, we have the degree and minutes. So we can measure angle in degrees and also in minutes. How do we mean? It is expedient you understand that 1 degree is equivalent or is equal to 60 minutes. Or you can easily write it this way, that 1 degree equal to 60 minutes. Okay, I think it's simple this way. Sometimes smaller units like seconds are also used, like 1 minute. 1 minute equal to 60 seconds. All right, 1 minute equal to 60 seconds. In essence, you can still put it in this way: 1 minute equal to 60 seconds. All right, so I think these are the basic introduction to angles. The next line we're going to face are the other elements, which includes the acute angle, obtuse angle, reflect angle, right angle, triangle, angles on a straight line. We need to know what these things are because it will help us to understand more concept about the formation of angles. So a quick one, let's discuss acute angle. Acute angle, I'll be brief about them. This is simply angles that lies between 0 degrees and 90 degrees. The shape of this angle could be like this. We have this associated with a straight line like this. Okay, and this angle is theta. You can see that this angle is not up to 90 degrees. In a way, some people will say the angle less than 90 degrees. Okay, so this is what we meant by acute angle. We have another one called the obtuse angle. obtuse angle. And this angle, this lies between 90 degrees. It lies between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. Or is some persons may say angle that is greater than 90 or bigger than 90 degrees and less than 180 degrees. But it's the same thing. You will say it lies between 90 degrees and 180 degrees, and the shape of that is something of this nature. Okay, by this indication you will observe that this angle is actually greater than 90 degrees, but of course less than 180 degrees. Okay, so we are going to talk about the next one, which is obtuse. We've talked about obtuse angle. Okay, next one will be reflect angle. Reflect angle. This angle lies between 180 and 360 degrees. Okay, 180 and 360 degree. The structure could be a straight line and something of this sort, like this. All right, you can have your angle theta here, or some textbook can still have it, some book can have it in this form. Okay, it's still the same thing. Whenever I say this way, it means that this angle lies between 180 and 360 degree. Then we also have another of these which we call the right angle. Let's put it straight up. Right angle, and this angle is just 90 degrees. The angle at 90 degrees, you have it like this. This point here is 90 degrees. All right, and then maybe I will end it with the one we call straight line. Straight line. Let's put it as straight line angles. Okay, straight line angles is simply 180 degrees. Just something of this nature, a straight line, and then you have this. So this angle is straight up 180 degrees. All right, so this we've discussed. All of these are part of the elements of plane geometry. All right, so let's discuss the formation of plane angles, or angles between lines. So the first one we'll consider is straight line. When we have a straight line, or let's say straight lines. Let me use by diagram so you have better understanding. I have a line like this, and I bisect this line, this, and also like this. Okay, so that I will have an angle here, or each of these parts is an angle. So let me just draw a circle here, and I will indicate these angles with A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, and I have this point to be point A, point B, okay, point C, point D, point E, and point F. Right, in this figure the following can be established. What can we establish from this? You can see this point A, B, C lies on this straight line. If I add up this point A plus point B plus point C, the whole of this will be equal to 180 degrees. on this is on line AB. Look at it. This is line AB, and lies on this line we have A plus B plus C. The whole of this angle will be equal to 180 degree. I guess you know, in our previous angles we've drawn, we talked about angle on a straight line to be equal to 180 degree. Again, you observe that BC and D lies on this point E and F. Point E and F has B, C, and D. So I can easily say angle B plus C plus D is equal to 180 degrees. All right, the same reason is angle on a straight line, and this is on line EF. We also have another one, F, point F, E, and D all lies on this point AB. F, E, and D, this angle, and this angle, the lies on the point, and so F plus E plus D will be equal to 180 degrees because this lies on line AB. Then finally, on this same note, we still have another one, which is AFE. Look at it, AFE. This AFE lies on EF, line EF. So we can easily say A plus F plus E is equal to 180. What is the reason? Remember that this lies on point EF, angle on a straight line. All right, I hope that is basic and also very interesting. So the next thing we're going to look into also is sum of angles at a point. Sum of angles at a point. A lot of problems I'll be solving will need us stating these reasons for every of our moves. So we talk about sum of angles at a point. You need to take note that sum of angle at a point is 360 degrees. This will be so important to note. So if angle at the point is 360 degrees, from the previous diagram, the one we just finished with right now, let me bring it up so that you will understand what I'm saying. From this, you can see that we have point A, B, C, D, E, F. All of them are on this point here. They lie on this point. So the sum of all these angles will be equal to 360 degrees. The reason is angle at a point. All the angles that surrounds that point is equal to 360 degrees. So we can easily say from that figure we have point A plus B plus C plus D plus E plus F is equal to 360 degrees. I think that is well articulated. That is very simple. Okay, another one we want to talk about is vertical. Okay, let's put it down. It's one of the rules we can pay attention to also. Vertically opposite angle. Vertically opposite angles are equal. So just take note that vertically opposite angles are always equal. Okay, let me draw this diagram so that we can use it to illustrate this point. Let me have all these points surrounded. All right, so we can indicate this as this is point M. Let me just call this point A and call this point N, and this point, I can still make use of the same. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. All right, in this figure you have in here, you observe that this point M and N are opposite. Look at it. This is a point. This angle here, which is angle M, and this angle here n. Let's put it down. M is equal to n. What is the reason for this? They are vertically opposite angles. Look at it. They are vertically opposite. With this figure, you can see that this is opposite to this. Again, you also observe that point O and N is equal to A. How? The same way this is opposite to this, that the same way this particular one is also opposite to this. All right, so I can easily conclude by saying O plus N is equal to A, and the reason for this is also vertically opposite angles. Okay, just take note of that. All right, I didn't tell us about parallel lines. Let's discuss parallel lines. In our basic introduction, or in our high school, we are told that parallel lines can never meet each other. That statement is true. If I have this to be parallel lines, we are actually saying even if these lines travel from this point to infinity, they cannot meet each other. This cannot meet with this. Similarly, this particular line cannot meet with this. So two lines are parallel if they do not for any reason and can never meet each other or intersect. That is when we say two lines are parallel to each other. Even when you increase their length, they cannot meet each other. All right, so but any line cutting across a pair of parallel lines is called a transverse. For diagrammatical reasons, if I have something of this sort, like this, a line drawn like this particular line, I can call it transverse, or I can call it transversal. It's still the same thing. All right, what did I spell? Transversal. Okay, so you can see that these two are parallel, and this particular that cut two parallel line is what we call the transversal or transverse. Whether I call it transverse or transversal is still the same thing. All right, so the next thing we're going to focus on is solving problems associated with this. But before we delve into solving of problems, it is also very okay we discuss what we call the corresponding angle. We need to look into corresponding angle and see its property in case of necessity. If we have problems that involves corresponding angle, we should be also be able to solve it. So please pay attention to this parallel line because they are very important. Even though the lines are up to 3, something of this sort, we have them up to 3 like this. All right, they can meet each other. Any line that cuts them or cuts across them is still what we call transversal. All right, let me also introduce us to corresponding angles because it should be useful while we were solving problems. So let's put it down. Corresponding angles. Or what you need to know is that all corresponding angles are equal. Just take note of this, that corresponding angles are equal. So they are always equal. Okay, let me use by diagram to explain this more better. If I have two lines like this, and then maybe parallel line, and it is cut by a transversal line, okay, and this forms an angle here, of course you know, and also forms another angle there. It has another angle here. I think this will be okay for us to discuss whatever it is that these properties will hold. Okay, but then I will have to assign this point to be point X, and here to be point Y, and here will be point A, and here to be point B. All right, this will be okay for what I want to teach us at this moment. You can see that point X is equal to Y. Point X here is equal to point Y. Similarly, point A is equal to point B. What could be the reason? It's just corresponding angle. This point X corresponds to point Y. Similarly, point A corresponds to point B. And the reasons is just that corresponding angle. So you can easily state that X is equal to Y, which the reason is corresponding angles. Again, point A is equal to B, and the reason is also corresponding angle. Remember that all corresponding angle or corresponding angles are equal. All right, so take note of that. And then the last one I will want to introduce to us, or have I talked about interior angle? Okay, let's talk about alternate angle before I will end it. Let's talk about alternate angle. Alternate angles are equals. Take note of that. Alternate angles are equal. Alternate angle are equal. Let's use this same parallel line to discuss alternate angle. So if I have this to be an angle and have this point to be an angle also, here as a point in this angle and here. All right, so I can easily give these things names. Let's say this point is point M, point N, and points K and L. I'm using different parameters so that it will not be the same with the previous. So okay, here I can see that this point K is equal to point L. The same way point M is equal to N. M is equal to N. What are the reasons for these two? The reason is simply alternate angle. And let me explain what alternate angle. Whenever you see the shape Z like this, when you see the shape Z like this, or when you see the shape N, anything that forms the shape of N like this or Z like this, that is, depending, if you turn this diagram, you observe that it's having the shape of N. If you leave it like this, it's having Z shape. So when you have a Z shape, angle that is here must be alternate to here. All right, similarly, angle that is here also, because this also forms a Z shape, angle that is here must be alternate to the angle here. All right, just pay attention to that. So the reason for this is alternate angles. And I said alternate angles are equal. All right, so the final one we're going to look into is sum of interior angle. All right, sum of interior angle. Sum of interior angles are 180 degrees. Okay, so this is important. Let's look into this property. So if I have the same parallel line, you can see that we have apparently used this parallel line to do a lot of things. So, and I have a transversal line, and if I have this point to be point A, and this point to point D, this point to point B, and this point to point C, all right, you easily see that point A plus B is 180 degrees, and also point C and plus D is equal to 180 degree. What are the reasons here? Is sum of angles, sum of interior angles. Sum of interior angles are opposites. All right, You can just put it as sum of interior opposite angles. All right, so it's very simple. By the time you see these angles like this, they can sum up to each other, and when they sum up to each other, their reasons is the sum of interior opposite angle. They are always equal. So these are the basic introduction to plane geometry. So in the next slide or other videos you'll be seeing under this will be from different diagrams or figures that we need to analyze by finding each of the points. So the rules that we have introduced here will be our guide. Thank you very much for enjoying Instructor Alison tutorials. Please subscribe to my channel.